Deep in a sun-dappled forest, where the trees whispered ancient secrets, lived a young woman named Oaklyn. Her workshop was a kaleidoscope of color, filled with the petals, leaves, and roots she gathered from the forest floor to create the most wonderful scents. Her husband, Daemabus, was the alchemist of their trio. He could coax the soul of a scent from the quietest flower, using strange and wonderful contraptions of glass and copper that bubbled and hissed with gentle warmth. Their dearest friend, Kael, was a creature of the forest, with fur like rich soil and eyes that held the wisdom of the moon. Kael's gift was finding the rarest blossoms, the ones that bloomed only in the most hidden magical places. One morning, Kael arrived with a single, perfect moonpetal. "It's for the Sunstone Festival," he rumbled, his voice like the shifting of old stones. "They say its scent can make memories bloom." Oaklyn and Daemabus were thrilled. A perfume of Moonpetal would be their masterpiece. Oaklyn carefully prepared the delicate petal, while Daemabus fired up his most intricate still, the copper gleaming in the firelight. All day they worked, their movements a practiced dance. Oaklyn crushed sun-dried moss and added a drop of morning dew. Daemabus monitored the temperature, ensuring the essence was captured without a single note of its magic being lost. Kael sat just outside the workshop door, a silent, furry guardian. He brought them sweet berries and cool water from the deepest spring, his quiet presence a comfort as they toiled. As twilight painted the forest in shades of lavender and rose, the final drop of perfume was ready. It shimmered in its vial, a tiny galaxy of scent and light. "It's done," Daemabus whispered, his voice full of awe. Oaklyn uncorked the bottle, and a fragrance unlike any other filled the air. It smelled of starlight and childhood laughter, of forgotten lullabies and the feeling of warm sun on your skin. Kael sniffed the air. "It is the scent of home," he said softly. "But it will travel far. The wind tells me someone in the great city beyond the woods has been waiting for this scent." Oaklyn and Daemabus looked at each other, a new adventure beginning to sparkle in their eyes. After the wonder of the Moonpetal perfume, a quiet curiosity bloomed in Oaklyn. She turned to Daemabus in their sunlit workshop. "Your copper stills are magnificent," she said, "but show me the heart of your craft. Show me the simple magic." Daemabus smiled. "The first tool is respect," he began, just as Kael appeared at the door with a basket brimming with fragrant lavender. "And the second is a safe place." He pointed to a row of clean glass jars. "We use these to hold the gifts of the forest, keeping them perfect until their time comes." Daemabus picked up a heavy stone mortar and pestle. "We don't crush the life from the plant," he explained to Oaklyn, placing a few lavender sprigs inside. "We gently bruise the leaves, like waking a friend, asking them to share their story, their scent." He then gestured to a simple double boiler on a small stove. "Some scents are shy and need gentle encouragement," he said, holding up a soft white cheesecloth. "This cloth makes a soft bed for the petals, while the warm steam below coaxes out their perfume like a soft whisper." Next, he held up a bottle of golden carrier oil. "A scent needs a quiet friend to travel with," Daemabus said. "This oil carries the fragrance without changing it. It helps the perfume cling to your skin so the memory of the scent can linger. Once the oil has learned the flower's song, we separate them," he said, pouring the now fragrant oil through the cheesecloth into a bowl. "We thank the petals for their gift. They will return to the earth, and nothing is ever wasted. For a solid perfume, a balm that you can carry with you," he continued, showing Oaklyn a small, pale block of beeswax, "we add a little of this. The beeswax gives the scent a cozy home, holding it close until you warm it with your touch." Daemabus then turned to a shelf lined with beautiful dark glass bottles in shades of amber and deep blue. "Sunlight is powerful, and it can ask a scent to fade too soon," he explained. "These dark bottles are like a shady nook in the forest, protecting the perfume and keeping its magic safe." With steady hands, Daemabus poured the finished lavender oil into the amber bottle and handed it to Oaklyn. You see? No loud machines or complicated spells, he said softly. Just patience and care and listening. The magic was in the lavender all along. Oaklyn opened the bottle and inhaled the pure, calming scent of the lavender field. Kael, who had been watching from the doorway, let out a low, happy rumble. It was not the starlight magic of the Moonpetal, but the honest soul of the flower, captured with love. And that was a magic all its own. Oaklyn held the simple lavender oil, its scent pure and true. The lavender sings one beautiful note, she said thoughtfully. But the Moonpetal perfume sang a whole chorus. How do you teach so many different scents to sing together? Daemabus chuckled. Perfume isn't a chorus, it's a story. Every good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. We call the beginning the top note. It's the first thing you meet, bright and cheerful, like a splash of sunshine. Next comes the middle of the story, the heart note, he continued, picking a soft pink rose from a vase. This is the main character. It's the warm, full scent that tells you what the perfume is truly about. It's the part that makes you want to stay. Finally, there is the end of the story, the base note. Daemabus picked up a smooth, dark piece of cedarwood. This is the deep, quiet scent that lingers long after the others have faded. It's the memory of the story, the feeling that stays with you. A beginning, a middle, and an end, Oaklyn repeated, her eyes wide with understanding. But how do you know how long each part of the story should be? How do you make them balance? Ah, that is the alchemist's art, Daemabus said. But there is a simple rule to start. Think of your story in 10 parts. The beginning is 3 parts, the middle is 5, and the end is 2. 3 parts top, 5 parts heart, and 2 parts base, Daemabus summarized, lining up 3 small bottles of essential oils. A bright bergamot for the top, a dreamy jasmine for the heart, and our cedarwood for the base. Shall we write a story together? He handed Oaklyn a glass dropper and an empty mixing bottle. You are the storyteller now. Let's begin. With great care, Oaklyn measured 3 drops of the bright bergamot oil, her brow furrowed in concentration. Next, she added 5 drops of the warm, floral jasmine. Then, 2 final drops of the deep, woody cedar. Kael, who had padded in quietly, sat by her feet, watching her every move with his wise, gentle eyes. Oaklyn sealed the bottle and gently rolled it between her palms. She opened it, and a new story drifted out. A scent that was bright, then warm, then deep. It was a perfect, balanced harmony. She had learned the language of scent. To capture a scent, you can blend and distill, the wise Druid Sorcha said, her voice as warm as the summer air. But the simplest and oldest method is to ask the sun and time for help. She held up a clear glass jar, and in it, the sunlight danced. Sorcha led Oaklyn to a patch of wild mint. For delicate leaves, we use the cold method. We gather our plants in the morning, after the dew has dried, but before the sun is high. She gently plucked a leaf, and we thank the plant for its gift. At a smooth, flat stone table, Oaklyn used a mortar and pestle. Gently bruised the leaves, Sorcha guided, just enough to wake them up. Oaklyn pounded the mint, and its sharp, fresh scent filled the air. They filled the glass jar halfway with the fragrant leaves. Then, Sorcha poured a golden carrier oil over them until they were completely covered. No part should be exposed to the air, or it may spoil, she cautioned. They sealed the jar and placed it on a warm, sunny windowsill inside a cozy hut. Now, we wait, Sorcha said. For 1 or 2 weeks, we will shake it gently once a day and watch as the oil borrows the color and scent of the mint. After 2 weeks, the oil had turned a pale, lovely green. Sorcha showed Oaklyn how to strain it through a fine cheesecloth into a clean bowl. She squeezed the cloth tightly to get every last precious drop. For a stronger scent, you can strain the oil into a new jar filled with fresh mint and repeat the process, Sorcha explained. The spirit of the oil becomes deeper with each infusion. She then poured the finished oil into a dark bottle to protect it from the light. But what about roots and barks? Oaklyn asked, holding up a piece of spicy ginger root. Sorcha smiled. For tougher plants, we use the warm method. We ask the fire for a little help. Sorcha placed the sealed jar in a pot filled with water and set it near the fire's warmth. We let the jar sit in the warm water for a few hours, she said. This gentle heat encourages the root to release its scent more quickly. Later, after the oil had cooled and been strained, Oaklyn held the bottle of ginger oil. She uncorked it and breathed in the warm, spicy scent. You have learned to capture the sun's embrace and the fire's warmth, Sorcha said proudly. A true Druid's magic. But what about flowers too fragile for even the gentlest warmth? Oaklyn asked, holding a delicate jasmine blossom. How do we capture a scent that is almost a whisper? Sorcha smiled. For those, we don't capture the flower, but its ghost. We persuade its spirit to stay with us through a magic called Enfleurage. Inside their hut, Sorcha brought out a shallow wooden frame with a glass bottom. She took a scoop of clean, purified lard and began to spread it evenly over the glass. First, we must prepare a soft, welcoming bed for the flower's spirit to rest upon, she explained. They returned to the garden as twilight deepened, the air thick with the sweet perfume of jasmine. We gather them now when their scent is boldest, Sorcha whispered. They moved through the bushes, gently plucking the most fragrant flowers and laying them in a flat basket. Back at the table, Oaklyn carefully took a blossom and placed it face down onto the bed of fat. Following Sorcha's lead, they covered the entire surface with a blanket of fresh flowers. Let them rest, Sorcha said softly. They will share their dreams with the fat. Sorcha placed another identical frame on top, creating a sealed chamber. This is a chassis, she said. It holds the flowers and their perfume close. Now, for a day, we let the fat listen to the flowers' silent song. The next evening, they opened the chassis. The flowers had wilted, their scent given freely. They have left their ghost behind, Sorcha said. With small wooden tweezers, they gently lifted away the spent blossoms, one by one. Oaklyn sniffed the fat. It's faint, she said, a mere echo. Sorcha nodded, picking up the basket of newly gathered flowers. And so, we invite a new chorus to sing. We lay fresh flowers upon the same bed again and again, until the echo becomes a symphony. For many days, they repeated the cycle of laying and lifting, a patient ritual of twilight gathering and gentle work. With each layer, the scent in the fat grew, becoming a perfect, potent memory of jasmine in the moonlight. The fat was now a pomade, heavy with perfume. Sorcha scooped a small amount of the finished pomade into a tiny ceramic pot. This can be worn on the skin, a solid perfume that whispers its secret to you all day, she said. Or we can introduce it to a spirit of alcohol, which will carry the scent away and turn it into a liquid perfume. Sorcha dabbed a little of the pomade on Oaklyn's wrist. Oaklyn closed her eyes and inhaled the deep, true scent of 1,000 jasmine flowers. You have learned the most patient magic, Sorcha said proudly. You have captured a flower's ghost, a scent that will bloom forever. Daemabus presented Oaklyn with a perfect, deep red rose. The rose, he said, his voice soft, is the classic scent of love and beauty. It speaks a language everyone's heart understands. Oaklyn inhaled its rich, velvety fragrance, a smile gracing her lips. They walked to a field shimmering with purple. Lavender, Oaklyn said, running her hand over the stalks. So calming and clean. It smells of peaceful afternoons and freshly washed linens drying in the sun. Daemabus gathered a bundle, its herbaceous floral scent filling the air. As dusk fell, they found a vine covered in star-like white blossoms. Jasmine, Daemabus whispered, an intensely romantic and intoxicating night scent. It waits for the moon to share its secrets. The air grew heavy with its intoxicating perfume. Deeper in the woods, a familiar sweetness guided them. Honeysuckle, Oaklyn cried, pointing to a tangle of vines. It's like a drop of sunshine captured in a flower. She plucked a blossom, tasting the single drop of nectar from its base. Sweet, warm, and just like honey. Near their cottage stood a large lilac bush, heavy with purple clusters. The lilac is the scent of spring itself, Daemabus declared, burying his nose in the flowers. A fresh, rich floral with a surprising hint of spice that tickles the nose. In a sunny patch of their herb garden grew tiny, daisy-like flowers. Chamomile, Oaklyn said, kneeling to gather them, so gentle and soothing. It smells like a warm, sweet apple and promises a peaceful sleep. Inside their apothecary, Daemabus opened a special wooden box, revealing strange, star-shaped yellow flowers. From a faraway land, ilang-ilang, he explained. Its scent is exotic, sweet, and almost custardy. It smells of adventure and mystery. Oaklyn crushed a soft, scalloped leaf between her fingers. And geranium, she said, smiling at the bright pink flowers on the plant. Not just the flower, but the leaves too. It's a green, leafy rose scent, as if the whole rose bush were captured in a single sniff. Oaklyn began, her eyes sparkling. Let's start with lemon balm. It's like the first ray of sunshine after a long rain. So bright, citrusy, and uplifting, it chases away any lingering shadows in the heart. She crushed a leaf, and the air filled with a cheerful, lemony scent. Daemabus took a deep breath from a sprig of dark green leaves. Then comes peppermint, he announced, his voice clear and strong. It's a jolt of mountain air, cool, sharp, and invigorating. It awakens the senses and clears the mind for the day ahead. And its gentler cousin, spearmint, Oaklyn added, pointing to a patch of lighter green, pointed leaves. It's softer and sweeter than peppermint, like a cool whisper instead of a shout. It reminds me of sweet teas on a warm afternoon. Daemabus presented a branch with long, elegant leaves. Behold, lemon verbena, he said. This is the purest, sweetest lemon scent you can imagine, with none of the sourness. It's like bottled sunshine and candied lemon drops. For a scent that truly clears the way, we have eucalyptus, Oaklyn said, holding up a silvery blue branch. Its aroma is camphorous, sharp, and wonderfully clearing. It's the scent of a deep, cleansing breath. Daemabus was skillfully peeling an orange in one long, continuous spiral. The peel of an orange, he exclaimed. It's the smell of pure joy, sweet, juicy, and so cheerful. It's impossible to be sad when you smell this. He offered the peel to Oaklyn. Oaklyn held up the bright yellow peel from a lemon. And the lemon peel is its zesty cousin, she said. It's so clean and sharp, it cuts through any dullness. It's the scent of a sparkling, clean cottage and fresh beginnings. Don't forget the grapefruit peel, Daemabus added, holding a large, pinkish-orange rind. It has that same bright citrus energy, but with a wonderfully bitter edge that makes it all the more interesting. It's a wake-up call for the nose. Finally, Oaklyn presented a small, pear-shaped citrus fruit, and my favorite, bergamot, she said softly. Its peel holds the most complex, floral citrus scent, the very soul of Earl Grey tea. It's elegant, a little mysterious, and utterly enchanting. Now for the heart of the garden, Daemabus said, his voice resonating with warmth. He gestured to a sturdy, needle-leaved bush. Rosemary. Its scent is piney and herbaceous, a stimulating aroma that clears the mind and strengthens the memory. It is the scent of focus and remembrance. Oaklyn gently touched the soft, silvery leaves of a nearby plant. And here we have sage, she whispered. Its fragrance is earthy and herbaceous, a profoundly cleansing scent. It washes away worries and purifies the spirit, leaving a sense of peace in its wake. Do not underestimate the small, Daemabus chuckled, pointing to a low-growing plant with tiny leaves. "This is thyme. Its aroma is spicy, warm, and powerful. It is the scent of courage, a reminder that even the smallest among us can possess great strength." "Oh, and the joy of basil," Oaklyn exclaimed, running her hand over a patch of glossy, vibrant leaves. "It's sweet and spicy, with a surprising little wink of licorice. This is the scent of summer kitchens and hearty laughter." Daemabus knelt down. Many confuse this with its bolder cousin, but marjoram has its own quiet charm. It's a warmer, woodier, and more gentle version of oregano. It speaks of comfort, like a soft blanket on a cool evening. "Lastly, a scent for the dreamers," Oaklyn said softly, holding up a stalk with beautiful pale purple flowers. "Clary sage. It is musky and bittersweet, a complex floral herbaceous blend. It's the scent of twilight, of intuition, and of secrets whispered on the breeze." "Let us now ground ourselves with the base notes, the very soul of the forest," Daemabus began, his voice a low rumble. He held up a handful of pine needles. "Pine. Its scent is fresh and balsamic, a crisp, clean breath of the high mountains. It speaks of resilience and endurance, the strength to weather any storm." Oaklyn added a curl of reddish wood to their collection. "Cedarwood," she said, her voice soft and warm. "Dry, woody, and deeply comforting. It is the scent of a crackling hearth and ancient wisdom, a fragrance that quiets the soul and brings a sense of stability." Daemabus presented a pale, almost white wood shaving. "And sandalwood," he murmured, "creamy, milky, and sacred. This is the scent of quiet contemplation and spiritual connection. It is a bridge between the earthly and the divine, a whisper of peace." Oaklyn held up a tear-shaped piece of golden resin. "Frankincense," she breathed, "a spiritual, resinous scent with hints of citrus and pine. It is the aroma of sacred spaces and offerings to the heavens, a scent that elevates the spirit and purifies the air." "And its counterpart, myrrh," Daemabus added, showing a darker, reddish-brown resin, deep, warm, and slightly bitter. "It is the scent of ancient rituals and profound healing. It speaks of acceptance and the beauty found in life's shadows." Oaklyn presented a bundle of fibrous roots. "Vetiver," she said, her voice earthy, deeply earthy, smoky, and grassy. "This is the scent of the deep earth itself, of roots, anchoring us to our foundations. It is grounding, calming, and profoundly centering." "Finally, the whisper of the ancient woods," Daemabus said, holding a piece of bark covered in greenish-gray lichen. "Oak moss, a damp, forest floor scent, rich and mysterious. It is the fragrance of time itself, of cycles of growth and decay, the eternal story of the forest." "Now for the fire in the forest's heart," Oaklyn said, her eyes sparkling. She held up a curled, brown stick. "Cinnamon bark. Its scent is warm, sweet, and spicy all at once. It is the fragrance of a crackling fire on a cold night, a scent that stirs the blood and awakens the spirit." Daemabus added a few small, dark buds to their collection. "Clove," he said, his voice resonating with its power. "Intensely spicy and medicinal. This is the scent of protection and strength, a sharp, clean fragrance that wards off ills and purifies the air around it." Oaklyn presented a gnarled, pale root. "Ginger," she announced, her voice bright, sharp, zesty, and warming. "It is the scent of pure energy, a jolt of vitality that cuts through weariness. It speaks of courage and a zest for life." "And for a touch of exotic warmth," Daemabus murmured, opening his hand to reveal several small, green pods. "Cardamom, a sweet, spicy, and deeply aromatic scent. It is the fragrance of welcoming and clarity, a scent that soothes the mind and opens the heart." Oaklyn held up a long, dark, and slender bean. "Vanilla," she whispered, as if sharing a secret. "Sweet, creamy, and comforting. This is the scent of pure comfort and gentle affection, a fragrance that feels like a warm embrace for the soul. Finally, a scent that holds many others within it, Daemabus said, showing her a handful of small, dark berries. Allspice, a complex and wondrous blend of cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. It is the scent of harmony and abundance, a reminder that many different strengths can come together to create something beautiful. We have gathered the whispers of the forest, Daemabus said, his voice a low hum. Now, we shall teach them to sing together. This is the final art, Oaklyn, blending the forest's symphony. He placed a small, clear glass vial on the wooden table between them. Every symphony needs a foundation, a deep, resonant note that holds the others. We begin with the base. Daemabus took the bottle of cedarwood oil, 2 parts for the earth's anchor. He carefully let 2 drops fall into the vial, each one a tiny, golden bead. Next, the heart of our song, he continued, picking up the lavender oil. This is the main melody, the soul of the fragrance. 5 parts for the flower's ghost. 5 purple-hued drops join the cedarwood, swirling gently. And finally, the greeting, the bright, fleeting notes that first dance upon the air. He reached for the lemon balm oil, 3 parts, for the sun's embrace. 3 pale, shimmering drops completed the mixture, sitting atop the other oils. Daemabus placed a small cork stopper in the vial and handed it to Oaklyn. Now, you must introduce them to each other, not by shaking, for that would bruise their spirits, gently, like you are rocking a seed to sleep. Oaklyn cradled the small bottle in her palms. She rolled it back and forth, a slow and rhythmic motion. Through the glass, she could see the oils, once separate, now weaving together into a single golden liquid. Their song is not yet complete, Oaklyn said softly, her eyes still on the vial. Like good wine or a deep friendship, the scents need time to mature, to meld their voices into one. We must let it rest. She carefully placed the vial into a small, dark wooden box. For at least a week it will sleep here, away from the sun. When it awakens, the symphony will be ready. We will have created a true perfume oil, a captured piece of the forest's soul. A perfume oil captures a moment, a memory, Daemabus said, his voice warm. But the forest's song should not be saved only for special occasions. We can weave its essence into our daily lives. He held up a small, round tin. Today, we will craft scented salves and solid perfumes, a scent you can carry with you. The foundation is simple, a marriage of wax and oil, Daemabus explained. He gestured to a double boiler simmering gently over a low flame. Step 1. In the top pot, we will gently melt 1 part beeswax with 4 parts of our infused carrier oil. This will give our salve its body. Once the mixture is melted and clear, we must remove it from the warmth, Daemabus instructed, his hand guiding Oaklyn's. This is step 2. We want it to cool, but not to sleep just yet. Now for the spirit of the salve, he said, his eyes twinkling. Step 3. As it begins to cool, we stir in the heart of our scent. He handed her the vial of perfume oil they had blended before. A few drops will lend their symphony to the balm. Oaklyn stirred the potent oil into the cooling liquid, watching as the scent blossomed in the warm air. The golden mixture thickened slightly, becoming opaque as it prepared to set. And now, the final step, before the mixture solidifies, Daemabus urged gently. Pour the liquid into its new homes. These small tins will be its cradle. They watched as the golden liquid in the tins grew still, the surface becoming smooth and solid. The air in the small room was filled with the rich, layered scent of the forest. Daemabus picked up one of the cooled tins and handed it to Oaklyn. The forest symphony, captured not in a bottle, but in a balm. A whisper of the wild to carry with you, always. The forest's scent can be a companion not just on our skin, but in the very air we breathe, Daemabus said, his voice a low hum in the twilight. He gestured to the setting sun. We can invite the forest's glow into our home long after the sun has gone to sleep. Today, we will craft scented candles. First, we melt the beeswax in our double boiler, just as we did for the salves, Daemabus instructed. While it turns to liquid gold, we prepare a home for our flame. He showed Oaklyn how to secure a wick to the bottom of a small clay pot, keeping it straight and tall. Once the wax was clear and shimmering, they removed it from the heat. Patience now, Daemabus cautioned gently. We must let it cool just a little, so it does not frighten away the delicate spirits of our scent. Now, Oaklyn, give the light its voice, Daemabus said, handing her their infused oil blend. Oaklyn carefully poured a generous amount into the slightly cooled wax, stirring gently as the rich, earthy scent bloomed and filled the air around them. The final step is to give the scented wax its form, Daemabus said. He guided her hands as she slowly poured the fragrant liquid wax into the prepared pot, making sure the wick stayed perfectly in the center. Now, it must rest for a full day to find its strength. As the candle began to set, Daemabus picked up a bar of plain, unscented soap. The forest can also cleanse, he said. Its essence can wash away the cares of the day. We will now learn to make a simple, scented soap. Oaklyn grated the soap into fine, white flakes. We will place these in the double boiler with a splash of milk, Daemabus explained, his voice soft. Heat it gently and stir. We are not rushing the river. We are coaxing it to flow. They watched as the flakes slowly melted into a thick, creamy paste. After removing the melted soap from the heat, Daemabus nodded to their bottle of infused oil. Stir in the scent, and with it, a memory of the wild. He then produced a small pouch of dried lavender. A few blossoms will be like whispers of the meadow in our soap. Now, we spoon the mixture into these molds, Daemabus said, indicating several small wooden rectangles. Oaklyn carefully transferred the thick, fragrant soap into them. Like the candle, these must now rest and cure for 1 or 2 weeks until they are firm and ready. They stood before their work table, the setting candle and the fresh bars of soap resting side by side. Light and lather, Daemabus said with a smile. You see how the forest's gifts can be woven into every part of our lives, bringing its magic into the most simple, daily rituals. Weeks had passed. The soaps, now cured and firm, rested on a wooden plank. Daemabus picked one up, its surface smooth and flecked with lavender. Feel this, he said to Oaklyn. It has hardened, and the scent has settled into its heart. It is ready. Oaklyn held the soap to her nose, inhaling the deep, earthy fragrance. It's wonderful, she said, her eyes bright with pride. But it feels as though we only gave the soap its voice. We didn't create the soap itself. I have heard whispers of a deeper magic. She looked at him, her expression earnest. I have heard of using lye to turn oils into soap from the very beginning. Is that the true way, Daemabus? A change came over Daemabus. His warm smile faded, replaced by a look of profound thoughtfulness. He set his own bar of soap down and folded his hands. You hear true, little sprout. Lye is the secret, the ancient way. He met her gaze, his eyes holding a new gravity. To simply melt and scent a soap is one thing, but to create it from oil and fat, that is not just crafting. It is alchemy. It is a transformation. The lye, which we can draw from the ashes of a hardwood fire, is the catalyst, he continued, his voice low. It is the spark that teaches the oils to become something new. This magical change is called saponification. The lye convinces the oils to release their very essence and be reborn as soap. What was once greasy becomes cleansing. What was once liquid becomes solid. It is a powerful and beautiful process. Daemabus leaned forward slightly, his voice firm but kind. But it is a magic that demands the utmost respect, Oaklyn. Lye is a powerful spirit. It can burn the skin if not handled with great care and wisdom. It is not a lesson to be rushed. Oaklyn listened, her earlier excitement tempered by a newfound reverence. She looked from the finished soaps to her teacher's serious face and nodded slowly. I understand, she said softly. Daemabus's warm smile returned. He placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Your curiosity is a gift. Nurture it. When you are ready, I promise, I will guide you through this deeper magic. For now, let us simply enjoy the good work we have already done. Before we begin the alchemy, we must show respect for its power, Daemabus said gravely. He handed Oaklyn a pair of thick leather gloves and goggles made of polished quartz. The spirit of lie is a potent one. It must not touch your skin or eyes. Oaklyn put them on, her expression serious and focused. Precision is the first step of this magic, Daemabus explained, gesturing to a brass balance scale. Every ingredient must be measured perfectly. He watched as Oaklyn carefully weighed the shimmering lye crystals, the cool spring water, and a blend of rich oils into separate containers. Now, we awaken the lye, Daemabus said, his voice low. At a spot near an open window, he instructed, always add the lye to the water, never the other way around. Stir gently and watch. Oaklyn carefully poured the lye into the water. As she stirred, a small cloud of steam rose, and she could feel the heat through the thick ceramic pitcher. While the lye mixture cooled, Daemabus showed Oaklyn how to warm the oils in a pot over a low flame. Just until they are melted and united, he said. Like the lye water, the oils must also cool. Patience is key. Their temperatures must be in harmony before they can meet. When both mixtures had cooled to the perfect warmth, the moment arrived. Pour the lye water into the oils in a slow, steady stream, Daemabus guided. Oaklyn's hands were steady as she poured. Now we stir, and we wait for the magic to show itself. They took turns stirring the creamy mixture. After some time, Daemabus lifted the wooden paddle, and the batter dripping from it left a faint trail on the surface. Look, he said softly, it has reached trace. The saponification has begun. The oils and lye are becoming one. Now we give it a voice, Oaklyn said with a small smile. Daemabus nodded, passing her the bottle of lavender and cedarwood oils they had prepared. She poured the fragrant blend into the pot, and they gave it one last, gentle stir, filling the air with a deep, wonderful scent. Quickly now, before it thickens further, Daemabus urged. Together, they carefully poured the thick, creamy soap batter into a long, wooden mold lined with parchment. Oaklyn used the paddle to spread it evenly into the corners, her movements becoming more confident. Daemabus placed a wooden lid on top of the mold and then wrapped the entire box in thick woolen blankets. The soap must stay warm to complete its transformation, he explained. We are putting it to bed so its inner warmth can finish the alchemy. Oaklyn looked at the bundled mold, a sense of awe on her face. What happens now? She asked. Now, said Daemabus, removing his own goggles. We wait. In a day or two, it will be hard enough to cut into bars. But the final magic takes time. It must cure for 4 to 6 weeks until it becomes gentle, hard, and ready to share its gift. The morning sun dappled the forest floor as Oaklyn and Kael stood at the edge of the woods, their woven baskets resting at their feet. The first step on the forager's path, dear Kael, Oaklyn said softly, her hand on the mossy bark of an ancient oak, is not to look, but to listen. The forest speaks to those who are patient. They soon came to a patch of vibrant wild mint. Oaklyn knelt, not plucking, but gently touching a leaf. Thank you for your gift, she whispered to the plant. We will take only what we need. She carefully snipped a small handful, leaving the patch lush and full. Kael watched, his large, kind eyes mirroring her reverence. Back at their cozy cottage, Daemabus pored over an old compendium. He was planning a special stew for the evening, but one ingredient was missing. Ah, he murmured to himself, tracing a delicate drawing with his finger. Moonpetal mushrooms. They only grow where the moonlight pools. Knowing this was a task for Kael's special senses, Daemabus grabbed a small leather pouch and set off into the woods. The familiar path wound through sunbeams and shadows, the air filled with the scent of damp earth and pine. He hoped to find Oaklyn and Kael before the sun climbed too high. He found Oaklyn gathering sweet woodruff near a babbling brook. "There you are," he said with a smile. "I have a challenge for our gentle giant. The evening stew requires moonpetal mushrooms." Oaklyn's eyes lit up. "A worthy quest. We were just discussing how Kael sees the forest's hidden treasures." Oaklyn turned to Kael, who had been patiently waiting. "Kael, my friend, Daemabus needs our help. Can you feel where the moonlight has rested? Can you find us moonpetal mushrooms?" Kael gave a slow, deep hum. He closed his eyes, his large, furry ears twitching, as if tuning into a frequency only he could hear. After a moment, Kael's eyes opened. He pointed a long finger not towards the path, but deeper into the tangled, ancient part of the woods, a place where old magic lingered. Without a sound, he began to walk, his steps sure and silent on the mossy ground. Daemabus and Oaklyn exchanged a look of wonder and followed. They trusted Kael completely. He moved not like someone searching, but like someone who already knew the destination. He navigated the dense undergrowth with a grace that defied his size. Kael finally stopped before a fallen, hollow log, so covered in moss it looked like a sleeping green giant. He knelt and peered inside. There, nestled in the damp, dark wood, was a small cluster of mushrooms glowing with a soft, pearlescent light. "Oh, Kael, they're beautiful," Oaklyn breathed. She reached in and, with the utmost care, harvested 2 of the 5 mushrooms, leaving the rest to flourish. "Thank you for your light," she whispered. With their baskets full and their quest complete, the 3 friends turned for home, their hearts full of the forest's quiet magic. Back in the warmth of their cottage, the scent of the evening stew simmering on the hearth filled the air. After their meal, Daemabus smiled mysteriously. "I have something to show you," he said, his eyes twinkling. He led Oaklyn to a corner of their workshop, where a large object was draped in a heavy canvas cloth. With a flourish, Daemabus pulled away the cloth. Beneath it sat a magnificent copper still, its surface hand-hammered and gleaming in the candlelight. It had a round belly, a swan-like neck, and a coiled condenser. "I've been working on it for months," he said, his voice full of pride. "I call it the Copper Heart." Oaklyn ran her hand over the warm, smooth metal. "It's a work of art, my love, but what is it for?" Daemabus picked up the basket of wild mint they had gathered earlier. "It's an alembic," he explained, "a vessel for capturing the very essence of a plant. Its soul." Kael, who had been quietly observing, patted over. He tilted his great head, sniffing the air near the still with a curious rumble. Daemabus chuckled. "You're right to be curious, old friend. Tonight, we will coax the spirit from this mint." Daemabus began the process, carefully placing the fresh mint and pure spring water into the belly of the still. "We use steam," he explained to Oaklyn, "to gently carry the plant's volatile oils upward. The steam is the breath that encourages the soul to rise." He sealed the still and lit a small, controlled fire beneath it. Soon, a gentle hissing sound filled the workshop. "The steam rises, carrying the mint's essence through the swan's neck," Daemabus murmured, his hand hovering near the warm copper. The fragrant steam then traveled through the coiled condenser, which was cooled by a steady trickle of water. "Here, the breath cools and becomes liquid again," Oaklyn observed, her voice hushed with reverence. "The spirit becomes tangible." From a small spout at the end of the coil, a clear liquid began to drip slowly into a glass flask. A tiny, shimmering layer of oil floated on the surface of the water. "Behold," Daemabus said softly, "the hydrosol, or the floral water, and floating upon it, the pure essential oil, the concentrated soul of the mint." Oaklyn dipped a finger into the hydrosol and brought it to her nose. The scent was incredible, pure, crisp, and alive, far more vibrant than the leaves themselves. "It's like smelling the memory of the plant," she whispered. Daemabus carefully separated the precious drops of oil into a tiny vial, the larger bottle of hydrosol he placed on the shelf. "The copper heart has given us a gift," he said, wrapping his arm around Oaklyn. "We have not just taken from the forest, but have listened to its essence and preserved its spirit." Kael hummed in agreement, the deep, resonant sound filling the workshop with a feeling of peace. The morning of the Oakhaven market arrived with a soft, golden light. Daemabus and Oaklyn loaded their hand cart with the fruits of their labor: amber bottles of tinctures, earthy salves, fragrant hydrosols, and Oaklyn's beautifully woven baskets. With everything carefully packed, they set off on the path to town, the gentle giant Kael padding faithfully beside them. The town square of Oakhaven was a vibrant tapestry of sounds, colors, and smells. Merchants called out their wares, and the air buzzed with conversation and laughter. They found their designated spot and began to set up, transforming a simple wooden table into a small piece of the forest. Oaklyn arranged their creations with an artist's touch. She placed smooth river stones among the bottles and jars, and tucked sprigs of fresh herbs and wildflowers into the corners of the display. Their stall became an oasis of calm, a whisper of the wild woods amidst the busy town. Their first visitor was a blacksmith, a man whose hands were a testament to his trade, strong, but chapped and sore. He looked skeptically at their wares. "What have you got for these?" he asked, holding up his calloused hands. Daemabus smiled warmly. "Something from the earth's own apothecary," he replied. Daemabus offered him a tin of comfrey and plantain salve, "a balm for hard-working hands," he explained. The blacksmith rubbed a small amount into his knuckles. His skeptical expression slowly softened into one of surprised relief as a soothing warmth spread through his tired joints. He bought 2 tins without another word. A young mother, looking weary, approached their stall with a restless child in her arms. Her eyes were tired, but she searched their table with a glimmer of hope. Oaklyn met her gaze with a compassionate smile. "Sometimes, the little ones just need a gentle reminder of peace," she said softly. Oaklyn offered her a bottle of lavender and chamomile hydrosol. "A light mist on a pillow or in the air can work wonders," she advised. The mother purchased the bottle, her shoulders relaxing slightly. Kael, who had been dozing, let out a soft, reassuring rumble, and the child in the mother's arms quieted, looking at the great bear with wide, curious eyes. All day, the people of Oakhaven came. An elderly scholar with a persistent cough found relief in a pine needle syrup. A young woman bought a calming tincture for her frayed nerves. Daemabus and Oaklyn didn't just sell remedies. They listened to stories, shared knowledge, and offered comfort. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, they packed their remaining goods. Their cart was lighter, but their hearts were full. They had woven a new thread of connection between their world and the world of the town, sharing the quiet wisdom of the forest. And so, our journey through the Druid's Compendium comes to a close. We have walked the Forager's path, listened to the whispers of the woods, and learned that the greatest magic lies in the quiet connection between the earth and our own hearts. May you always find wisdom in the wild and healing in the green embrace of the world. Farewell.